Last class, yesterday, we talked about prisms and finding the volume of those prisms. Today, we want to move on to another topic with them. Let's just review, though, quick the volumes. We defined a volume to be the area of a base times a height. So when we have one of these boxes, or rectangular prism as they're called, now any of those rectangles could be the base, but in a box we just typically choose it to be the bottom. So let's say this is 12 inches, 8 inches, and 8 inches here. The area of the base is just going to, we treat this as the base, is just going to be 12 inches by 8 inches, or 96 inches squared. So then the volume will be that area of the base, the 96 square inches, times the height, here's the height, of 8 inches, or 768 inches cubed, or cubic inches. Well, once we've calculated volume, and once we've practiced volume, the next step is to talk about something called surface area. Surface area is just that. It's an area of all the surfaces of the object added up. Now, in a box, we could just add up all there's 6 rectangles. In fact, they come in pairs, so there's really only 3 of them. They're each repeated twice. We could find the area of all those rectangles and add them up, and we have the surface area. But there's a simpler way to do it. We already have the area of the bases. So there's 2 bases, the one on bottom and then the one on top that's identical to it. To that, we can add the area of what's called the lateral area. And that would total the total surface area, total up to the surface area of that object. So the first question is, what is lateral area? Well, lateral area is the area of the sides that connect the bases. What do I mean by that? Well, on a box, if we're using the bottom as the base, the top is also a base, the lateral area is the area around these sides here that wrap around. To find that area, now here it's just 4 rectangles, you could probably just find each of them separate. But there's a quicker way to do it. To find that area, we can just slice it up the side here and fold it out. And that lateral area folds out into one big rectangle. The height of this rectangle is still just the height of the box, 8 inches. The length of that rectangle is the perimeter of the base, the distance around the bottom of this. So the perimeter of the base, we've got 8, 12, 8, and 12, is just 40 inches. So the lateral area, lateral surface area, is defined to be the perimeter of the base times the height. So for this box, the lateral area, the perimeter of the base, is 40 inches times the height of 8 inches, which is going to give us 320 inches squared, or square inches. Now it is going to be square inches because it's an area. Well, that's lateral area. So the total surface area will be the bases. Each base was 96 square inches, and there's 2 of them, one on bottom and one on top, plus the lateral area of 320 square inches, which is going to give us 512 inches squared. What do you think? Not terrible? The reason, again, that I define surface area in that way, just like with volume, is now I can apply that to pretty much any shape. Let's look at this. Let's review. Let's find its volume first. First step in finding volume is to find the area of the base. How do I find the area of the base of this? Perfect. 8 feet times 15 feet divided by 2 is 60 square feet. That's the area of the base. How do I find a volume from that? Well, the area of the base, 60 square feet times the 20 feet, which is going to give us 1,200 cubic feet. There's my volume. To find surface area now, we have the area of the base is 60 square feet. Is there a second base? So yeah, there is a second base there, so it's another 60 square feet. So now we need to find the lateral area. To find the lateral area, we need the height, which we have, and we also need the perimeter of the base. Do we have all three sides of that triangle? No. How do we find the third side? A, B, C. You got it. 8 squared plus 15 squared equals C squared. What's C going to be? It's going to be C. 8 squared is 64. 15 squared is 225, which adds up to 289, which is C squared. So the square root of that is 17. So the perimeter of the base is going to be 17 plus 15 plus 8, or 40 feet. Now what? Lateral area is that perimeter of the base, 40 feet, times the height, which was 20 feet, otherwise known as 800 square feet. So add that to our bases, we get 920 square feet is the total surface area. Does that make sense? The great thing is this even works for cylinders. Pretend that looks like a cylinder. And you're probably thinking, it doesn't seem that great to me. Let's say this is 4 feet and 10 feet. How do I find the volume? Walk me through it. Area of the base, okay, which is going to be 5 times radius squared, which is going to be 50.24 square feet. What do I do with that? Multiply it by my height of 10 feet. So it's 502.4 feet cubed. So there's my volume. For surface area, of course, we've got the area of the base, 50.24. Is there a second base? Yes, there is. And we're going to have to add the lateral area. How do we find the lateral area? There you go. Perfect. The perimeter of the base, which is just going to be the circumference of a circle, which is going to be pi times not 4, but 8. Pi times diameter, which will be 25.12 feet. So that means the lateral area, 25.12 feet times 10 feet of height, 251.2 square feet. So add that on, we get 361.64 square feet of total surface area. What do you think? What happens if, sure. what happens if we have something like this? Give up, call it a day, go home and cry yourself to sleep. That works. Something like that. Well, the volume is still based off the area of the base and the height. But it's obviously not a full pyramid, or not a full prism, not a full box. And it's not even half of a box, because if half a box would be a wedge. It's actually 1/3. You divide by 3. It's the area of the base times the height divided by 3. The way I remember it is you're still basing everything off rectangles. When you're dealing with areas, areas are 2 dimensions. To get from a rectangle to a triangle, you divide by 2. Pyramids and boxes are 3 dimensions. To get from a box to a pyramid, you divide by 3. That's the way I remember it. So let's find the volume here. Let's look at the area of the base, which is just 12 feet by 12 feet, otherwise known as 144 square feet. By the way, a symbol you might see me use looks like that. That's an architectural abbreviation for square foot. It's a square with the foot symbol in it. If you ever see that, that's what it means. I try not to write it in class, but it comes out every now and then. So that's our area of our base. So our volume then is the 144 square feet times the height of 8 feet divided by 3. Which is what, 384 or something like that? Cubic feet. So there we go. What do you think? Surface area it's a little more complicated. First of all, we have the 144 square feet for the base. But there is no second base. There's only one base here.
Good luck, Paul.
So we just got to take that 144 and add the lateral area to it. But there are some adjustments to the lateral area. The lateral area still goes off of the perimeter of the base, but instead of being multiplied by the height, these sides don't go straight up and down, do they? They go at a slant. So instead of having this height from here to here, we need to know that slant. So it's the perimeter of the base times what's called the slant height. And now instead of being rectangles, those sides are all triangles, so we're going to divide by 2. Now remember, lateral area is an area, which is 2 dimensions. We divide by 2. So the perimeter of the base here is just 12, 12, 12, and 12. It's going to be 48 feet. We need to figure out the slant height. To do the slant height, we know that this height here is 8 feet. This is half of the 12 is 6 feet. So it's going to be 6 squared plus 8 squared equals s squared. It always sucks because my s's look like 5s. That's the slant, yep, slant height. If you figure that all out, it ends up being 10 feet down that slant. 36, 64, add up to 100, square root is 10. Everybody good with that, doing that a squared plus b squared equals c squared? You do that one? Okay. Otherwise, in construction, there's a 6, 8, 10 that's used a lot. Just eyeball it. So it's 48 times 10, then divided by 2, which is going to be 240 square feet is the lateral area. What's that? I thought you were mumbling something. Oh. So we've got the 144 square feet for the base, the 240 square feet for the lateral area, which adds up to 384 square feet total. What do you think? Better than a sharp stick in the eye? Okay. So if we have a cone, and let's say that the distance across the base of this cone is 18 feet, and the height is going to be 40 feet. It's a tall cone, yes. Volume. Well, we still have to find the area of the base, which is going to be pi times 9 squared, because the radius is going to be 9. Which is 254.34 feet squared. Our volume is then the 254.34 square feet times 40 feet of height, excuse me. So 10,173.6 feet cubed. That's our volume. Now for surface area, we already have the area of the base. We need the lateral area. For the lateral area, we need the slant, which is going to be 9 squared plus 40 squared equals that slant squared. If you figure that out, it's 81 and 1600. The square root of 1681 is going to give you 41 for the slant. I need the perimeter of the base. Perimeter of the base is going to be pi times 18. $56.52. Now that we have those, our lateral area is the perimeter of the base, 56.52, times the slant of 41 divided by 2. $1158.66 square feet. And to that we would add the 254.34, which is going to give us 1,413 square feet is the total surface area. What do you think? I added the area of the base, the lateral area. I know I went through that kind of fast. Let's see, yesterday we had that page 615, the 1 through 15, the odds. There were a couple on there that dealt with lateral area that now you can go back and do. On page 631, 1 through 11, the odds. Should also be able to do it. It has the cones and pyramids in it. Sure. Should scroll.